Kirkstall Abbey, a true tale of ghosts and secrets. Nestled beside the River Aire in West Yorkshire, just on the outskirts of Leeds, lies the imposing ruin of Kirkstall Abbey. Today it stands as a peaceful monument to the past, its striking architecture and vast open grounds drawing visitors who come to admire its beauty and learn about its history. But beneath the serenity of this place lurks a dark, haunted past, a past that is still very much alive in the ghostly tales and strange phenomena that plagues this ancient site. Kirkstall Abbey was founded in 1152 as a Cistercian monastery and quickly became a thriving centre of religious life. The monks who inhabited the abbey spent their days in prayer, work, and devotion to God, but they were not immune to the tragedies and secrets that often accompany such places. Over the centuries, Kirkstall Abbey has witnessed its share of sorrow, conflict, and untimely death, much of which is believed to have left a lingering mark on the site. The abbey was eventually abandoned in the late 16th century during the dissolution of the monasteries under Henry VIII, and it has since fallen into ruin. Today, the abbey is a popular tourist destination, but it is also known for its unsettling reputation. Visitors and locals alike have reported strange sightings, eerie noises, and a general sense of unease when spending time at the abbey, especially at night. The spirits that haunt Kirkstall Abbey are said to be the remnants of those who once lived and died here, their restless souls unable to move on from the place that defined their lives. Kirkstall Abbey's history is as dramatic and tragic as any ghost story. Founded by the monks of Fountains Abbey, the monastery was established on the banks of the River Aire, in a location believed to be serene and spiritually significant. The monks led a strict, ascetic life, devoted to religious rituals, prayer, and labour. However, despite its pious mission, or pious, should I say, the abbey was not immune to the hardships and tensions that plagued much of medieval England. In the early days of Kirkstall Abbey, the monks suffered from constant threats to their peace, hostile neighbours, marauding soldiers, and religious conflict. Though they were relatively isolated, the abbey was not without its share of violent clashes and disputes. Local legends speak of monks who were murdered, betrayed, or otherwise met untimely deaths within the abbey's walls. The abbey also played the role of the bloody battles of medieval England, particularly during the Wars of the Roses in the 15th century. The monks were caught in the midst of political and religious upheaval, with their peaceful existence disrupted by the shifting tides of war. However, it was during the dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century that the abbey truly met its tragic fate. In 1539, Henry VIII ordered the closure of all monasteries in England, and Kirkstall Abbey was no exception. The monks were expelled, their lands and possessions seized, and the abbey itself was left to fall into ruin. Many of the abbey's treasures were stolen or destroyed, and the once thriving centre of religious life was left abandoned, its walls crumbling with age. The fate of the monks who once lived there is not entirely known, but many believe that their spirits never truly left, trapped in the place that defined their existence. The ruins of Kirkstall Abbey are said to be one of the most haunted sites in Yorkshire, and there are many chilling tales of apparitions, eerie sounds, and strange experiences that have been reported by visitors throughout the years. Those who dare to explore the abbey, especially after dark, claim to have encountered restless spirits, ghostly figures, and strange phenomena that suggest the abbey is far from abandoned. The most famous ghost of Kirkstall Abbey is that of a monk, whose spirit is said to still roam the ruins. The ghost of this monk is often seen walking through the abbey's cloisters and grounds, sometimes appearing as a shadowy figure draped in a dark habit. Witnesses describe the monk as a silent, sombre figure who moves through the ruins as though lost in prayer. His apparition is often reported in the vicinity of the old abbey's kitchen and infirmary, where it is believed he spent his final days. Some accounts claim that the monk's ghost is accompanied by the faint sound of chanting or whispered prayers, as if the spirit is still in the midst of his religious duties. Others say that the monk appears to be in distress, as though seeking solace or redemption for something that occurred during his life. The presence of the monk is said to be both sorrowful and unsettling, as though his spirit is trapped in the abbey, unable to find peace. There are also reports of strange cold spots, inexplicable drafts, and a sudden sense of being watched whenever the monk is near. Visitors who have visited and experienced these phenomena often feel an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the very walls of the abbey are watching them. Another ghostly figure often seen at Kirkstall Abbey is the Lady in White, a spectral woman who is said to haunt the abbey's grounds, particularly near the remains of the abbey's old gardens. This ghost is often described as a young woman dressed in a flowing white gown, her face obscured by a veil or shadow. Some claim that the Lady in White is a former resident of the area, possibly a woman who is connected to one of the monks or a noblewoman who visited the abbey in its heyday. The Lady in White is typically seen walking along the abbey's ruined walls, gazing out over the River Aire. Witnesses have described her as a figure of great sorrow, moving silently through the ruins as if searching for something, or someone, she has lost. Her ghost is often accompanied by a sense of overwhelming sadness, and some say that her presence is so palpable that it is almost as if she is still alive, caught between two worlds. Some visitors claim to have heard her sobs or even seen her reach out as if begging for help or guidance. Others say that she appears suddenly without warning and vanishes just as quickly, leaving behind a cold, eerie silence. One of the most common reports from those who have visited Kirkstall Abbey is the sound of chanting or bells, especially at night. The abbey once had a bell tower, and it is said that the bells were used to summon the monks to prayer, as well as to mark important events. Though the bells were silent centuries ago, many visitors have claimed to hear the faint sound of bells ringing in the distance. Others report hearing the sound of monks chanting, the ancient hymns echoing through the abbey's ruined walls. These sounds are often described as muffled, as though coming from another time. Some claim that the chanting grows louder and more intense as they approach the abbey, only to fade into nothingness when they leave. Others say that they have heard the chanting in the dead of night, when the abbey is completely empty and the air is still. The connection between these sounds and the spirits of the monks is strong, with many believing that the voices of the monks still linger in the air, forever bound to the abbey by the rituals they once performed. Whether these sounds are the results of the human imagination or true supernatural phenomena is up for debate, but for those who have heard them, the experience is undeniably unsettling. Today, Kirkstall Abbey stands as a ruin, a place of reflection and quiet beauty. It is a popular destination for tourists, history enthusiasts, and those with an interest in the supernatural. The abbey is open to the public and many come to wander its grounds, exploring the crumbling stone walls and learning about its fascinating history. But for all its history and beauty, Kirkstall Abbey still carries an air of mystery, a sense that something is not quite right. Visitors often report feeling a presence or experiencing strange phenomena they cannot explain, whether it's the ghostly monk, the lady in white, or the disembodied sounds of chanting. The abbey seems to be alive with the spirits of the past. The tragic events that occurred within its walls, the lives that were lost, and the sacrifices made by the monks who once called it home have left a lasting impression on Kirkstall Abbey. It is a place where the past refuses to remain buried, where the spirits of those who lived and died here continue to make their presence known. For those who are willing to listen and feel the weight of history, Kirkstall Abbey offers a haunting reminder that some stories are never truly finished, and some souls are never truly at rest.